Lexus was asking as far as the flash power, like do I memorize it or do I know what power I'm gonna use?
There we go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be shooting something a little bit different. We're gonna be shooting a fleet of cars. This came about because I was shooting a ceremony once in Huntington Beach, and the gentleman who they had rented this Porsche from, he was also there. I think they were just using it for the shoot, unless I have that incorrect. But in any case, I met Chuck at this shoot, and I don't know, we got along really, really great. And a couple of months later, I did a shoot for him down in Huntington Beach with some of the fleet that he had. I told him, you know, I just enjoy shooting cars. That was actually how I got into photography way back in the day. So it was just fun to kind of revisit that. We did that shoot, and you know, we took care of him. And then he hit me up recently, like a month ago, and he's like, hey, we got a few new cars. Would you mind shooting them for us? And of course. So right now we're about to head down there. And today we're going to be using the Neewer Flashes. So Neewer, as you guys know, is a company that they do flashes. If you buy anything from Amazon, you've seen their stuff. So a few months ago, they sent over the Z2 S for Sony. And I've been playing with these with them on camera. So there it is. And it's been really, really good, actually. They feel really well made. They, like, you know, you guys can see, like, they don't feel like flimsy little flashes. A lot of flashes, when you use them, they tend to kind of tilt down when you put weight on them on top. These actually seem to be very, very sturdy. And the screen is also really easy to read. Yeah, so I've used it a few times on camera. Today I'm going to use it off camera, so I'm going to be using the remote on top of my camera in order to fire them off remotely. Now, since we're shooting later in the day, since I scheduled this accordingly, we don't need a ton of flash power. So these guys right here, you know, you might think might not be enough for what we're about to do, but it's gonna be plenty. Like, you really don't need more than. My assistant, I just saw him pull up, so we're gonna get ready and head on down to shoot this. All right, so today we're gonna be shooting with the Neewer Flashes here. So as I told you guys before we left, we're going to be using the Neewer Z2 S. So again, S for Sony, because if it was on camera, you need to make sure that the mount is correct for your camera. Today we're going to shoot with them with off-camera lighting. So we're going to be using this remote right here. So this is going to be transmitting, this is going to be receiving. But yeah, we're going to put one on channel A, one on channel B, so that way we can control them individually. You want to do that in case you want more power out of one than the other. So there we go. We're going to hit this little button, and then we're going to go to RX. So now it's receiving, and it's going to be on A right there. So when we hit it over there, it's obviously going to fire this one off. And I also have it on channel 5 because 5 is my favorite number. So I go to channel 5. Don't leave it on channel 1, because if you're on channel 1 and you're shooting in a very populated area with a lot of photographers and nobody changes it out of channel 1, people are going to be firing your flashes. There's a little tip. On the remote, it's going to change the power on the flash itself. I don't have to run up to the flash, obviously, and change it. So to some of you youngins, you don't remember that that's what we had to do back in the day. Cool. Let's set up a couple of flashes, Alexis. We don't want to light with the flash directly like this. So what we're gonna do is almost like feather the light a little bit. So we're gonna have one flash in this area right here, and we're gonna aim it towards the front wheel, right? So it's gonna hit there. It's gonna light a little bit here because it's gonna spill. It's the inverse square law is what it's actually called, the technical term, but it's gonna light over there and it's gonna light here because the spill that's gonna be hitting here is gonna be enough to light this area, traveling all the way to the other end. By the time it gets to the other end, it's gonna die down a little bit, so it should look about the same in the front and the back, if that makes sense. I hope it didn't confuse anybody. And if it did, leave a comment and I'll respond. But the other one is gonna be in the front. Similar concept. It's going to be here, and I think we're going to aim it towards the back wheel, or if we're going to aim it towards this area right here. Lexus was asking as far as the flash power, like do I memorize it or do I know what power I'm going to use? In a way, yes. If we're shooting earlier in the day like we are right now, where the sun isn't really that low, more than likely I'm going to start around full power. So I'll start at full power. If you're shooting in the middle of the day, you're definitely going to start at full power, and then you can always dial it back. Once the sun goes down a little bit more, as we're shooting the other cars, we can lower the power a little bit more. So by the time we're finished, we probably will be shooting at like quarter power, eighth power, something like that. We won't need full power out of these flashes. But for now, since it's bright as hell in the back, and we're shooting at like F
10 in the back at 2/50th of a second, we do need full power out of these flashes. So right now we're at full power, 2/50th of a second, f9, ISO 100, and pretty much that's all you need. What we're gonna do now is just line them up. So we're gonna do one after the other after the other. And the settings, they'll change a little bit because the sun is gonna die down. So 1/4 power instead of full power because we don't need that much flash power anymore. We're actually at 7.1, the aperture. So we're getting a similar darker background, but we don't need to go as intense with the flash power. Actually, the one in the front, I'm doing half. All right, so we finished up a little while ago. We're driving back right now. Obviously, it's dark. And yeah, I mean, the flashes performed really well. They definitely were enough light for the time that we were shooting. So it's not necessarily something that I would probably use in the middle of the day, because in the middle of the day, you probably need a little more power. So you could probably put both of them next to each other and that would work. But 9 times out of 10, whenever we can schedule the shoot, we always schedule it in the afternoon. I'm gonna say 10 times out of 10 actually, because if we have a choice, we're gonna choose to shoot later in the day. So if you're shooting later in the day, this is plenty of power. And it's just nice that you have something that works as an off-camera flash, and then you can also put it on camera and use it for a reception or event or anything like that. So overall, I'm really happy with the performance. Again, the build quality on it seems really, really good. And I'll probably post a video where I'm kind of talking a little bit more tech and gear about it, but I wanted to use them in the field so you guys can see some cool and interesting photos and not just me talking about, you know, talking about the flash. We'll do that later. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions, I'll make sure to answer them in the comments. And if you made it this far, if you want to subscribe, that would be lovely. All right, guys, have a good night.